Hi, I'm Sam.
I'm Lisa.
Welcome to X-UMED. Tonight's episode, body snatching or resurrectionists.
Grave robbing.
Well, so I kind of woke up choosing violence today, but I remembered that I actually woke up in a pretty good mood after a shitty sleep and shitty dreams. But then other people made me choose violence today. So we're going to put this entire episode as a trigger warning for
For what?
exhuming bodies, death, dissection, murder.
Okay.
So, do you know the difference between grave robbing and body snatching?
I do now because you explained it to me.
Yeah. Well, everyone sees grave robbing as just a balloon thing. There's a difference. There's grave robbing is stealing the possessions out of a grave.
Mm-hmm.
Body snatching is exactly what it says. You steal the body.
Yeah.
So how far back do you think grave robbing and or body snatching goes?
I want to say like the 1600s.
We don't know.
Wow.
Grave robbing goes back as far as anyone can really remember. That started out when the poor and thieves wanted to rob graves for jewelry and any of the valued possessions in order to be able to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been noted in the 1500s, doctors paid for fresh bodies to study.
As early as the 1500s?
Well, even before then.
I didn't know that.
It kind of makes you wonder, like Leonardo da Vinci was able to create the anatomy of a human body in the 1400s. So detailed that those pictures are now enhanced and used in medical studies now. Like they're in textbooks.
Wow.
Where do you think he got his bodies? How did he know this?
He had to pay somebody to dig them up.
Like he was in the 1400s, and this was at a point where up until the late 1800s, they still believed that bleeding a body to get rid of the infection was the most advanced medical knowledge.
Yeah.
George Washington was bled of, I think, 40% of his blood to get rid of an infection.
I didn't know that.
I didn't either until today. Well, it was illegal to dissect a body because they believe the body needs to remain intact in order to make it to the afterlife or to heaven. King James IV of Scotland was the first king to allow dissection, so to say. He allowed 4 bodies per year for dissection only on murderers because they believe that if you murder someone, then
You're
they're
going
not
to hell.
yeah, so who the hell cares about the intact of their body?
Yeah.
Then King Henry VIII of England followed that and did the exact same thing, but it was of executed prisoners each year to study. It became a theatrical experience and was done in front of hundreds to thousands of people. It was like a show.
What, dissecting a body? That's not something that I would want to see.
So King James IV of Scotland is noted to be the reason of body snatchers, or let's say in their professional name, resurrectionists.
So he's the reason why they came about.
It helped, but that is the earliest known was roughly end of 1490s to early 1500s.
Oh, wow.
But fun fact. So we first know them as grave robbers. Then we get more specific, body snatchers. Then we've got their professional name of resurrectionists. They were also known as sack 'em up men and
That sounds funny.
doctors of the night.
Ooh, doctors of the night.
There's a couple of other names. I didn't write them down. I don't know. Those
Sack
were the
'em up men.
Yeah. Those were the two that I liked.
Okay.
In the 1700s, the British government created a law called the Murder Act, where anyone who was convicted of murder, their own body would then be donated to medical science. It was against the law of murderers to be buried. Medical students had plenty of legally obtained cadavers to practice on at that time. Well, while we're talking about English and Scottish history with resurrectionists, let's talk about Hare and Burke.
Hare and Burke.
Hare and Burke. What do you know about them?
I know that they were grave robbers or resurrectionists that were hired to dig up graves, and the condition of the body determined how much they were going to get paid. The fresher the body, the better the condition, the more money that they would make. So they started getting greedy, and instead of digging up bodies, they were just murdering people so that they could get top dollar.
Do you know that they never actually dug up a body?
They never dug any of them up?
No.
I didn't know that.
Every person that they sent to, I think it was Dr. Knox in College of Edinburgh, every single one of them were murdered.
I didn't know that. I thought they started out digging up bodies and just bypassed that altogether and started murdering people.
No, they were greedy as fuck to begin with. Like, let's bypass the hard labor and let's just murder people to get the money.
Wow. Yeah, they had to murder them in certain ways too, so that the body stayed pristine.
It was mostly suffocation.
Makes sense. I don't remember a lot of the story.
No, I mean, that could be its own episode.
It really could.
Too many people talk about it, though, but not many talk about the history. Well, they had killed 16 people. They were considered at that time notorious serial killers.
Mm-hmm.
Hare? Is it Hare?
Hare.
They got caught because the bodies came in too fresh. They were warm.
Ooh.
And Dr. Knox started noticing people. It's like, I literally just talked to this person yesterday. Yeah, he started catching on. And they finally got caught because if I'm remembering right, then like a body was found under the bed still warm by just someone they let in.
They didn't think any of that through.
No, they didn't. So Hare ended up convincing lawyers and the judge and whoever he needed to at that time that he was convinced to do this by Burke. He didn't want to do it. He couldn't sleep at night. He had tremendous guilt, and he was pretty much just let go. But we will let you go if you turn on your buddy Burke. Not going to go through the trial, nothing like that. But Burke was sent to execution. He was hung in front of 25,000 people. His body was left on public display. His body was left on public dissection at the medical school of Edinburgh, Scotland. But then his bones were defleshed and his skeleton was and is put on display at the University of Edinburgh in Scotland.
I knew that. I thought it was both of them, though. I didn't know the one got away with it.
Nope. And apparently Burke's flesh is in the hell is it called? A note card? A name card? A calling card. The flesh of his body was used as a calling card, whatever that is. And that is on display too.
What do you mean used as a calling card?
I don't understand what it was. I tried looking it up and I got sidetracked. But it's on display. Well, this led to the Anatomy Act of 1832. The UK law allowed doctors, anatomy teachers, and medical students to dissect donated bodies, addressing public concern about the illegal body snatching for the anatomy study. So it made it legal to obtain bodies from workhouses, hospitals, and prisons that were unclaimed bodies after 48 hours. So it tried to get away from body snatching, tried to make it legal in other ways. But the problem was, this affected many poorhouses. The poorhouses became a human guinea pig for autopsies. The poorhouses mainly consisted of illiterate people. If the body isn't claimed within 48 hours, then they were free to take them. So a lot of the illiterate people, if you're in a poorhouse and you're illiterate, you can't exactly tell someone, yeah, this is their name or how to spell it. Like, you can say their name, but you're not going to recognize it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, because you can't read.
So they may have been unclaimed because people were illiterate.
That's dirty.
It's noted that between 1840 and 1900s, 50,000 people were dissected in London because of that. All right, so that's the English, Scottish, and somewhat Irish history on body snatching. Let's go to America now. There were riots in 1788 in New York when it came to, I'm not going to go too far into it, but body snatching, like there's an account of doctors or medical students like waving arms out of windows, like, hey, this is your mom.
What?
And the public became pissed about that. They thought that dissecting people, mutilating their body, was disrespectful to the deceased.
Mhm.
So they had to do something about it, and they created laws. It was the 1788 Riot Act? Question mark.
Wait, doctors were, like,
It's medical students.
medical students were why would they do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what? It doesn't matter how far back you go, you're always gonna find shitty people.
Yeah. So there were riots, and then laws were created. So the government was trying to get rid of a stigma where it was they were trying to deconnect the idea that when you dissect a body, mutilate the body, then there wouldn't be a crossover with heaven and hell.
Mhm.
So then this started the issues in America with body snatching. What do you think of when you think of the railroad system in like the 1800s? Just like coal and whatnot?
I don't really think too much about it.
No, neither did I. The nation's first common carrier train line between Baltimore and Ohio changed everything with America, but it changed the career with Resurrectionists. They could easily transport bodies from one state to another.
Mm.
It connected the East Coast to the West Coast, and it was a heyday for body snatchers and quick paydays, which comes into a stiff drink. Like, so you're thinking about, okay, it's going to be a couple of days between Ohio and Baltimore. Maybe a day, but bodies stink.
Yeah.
This is where the term stiff drink comes from. The body snatchers found another way to make a quick buck. They sold the leftover whiskey to unwitting customers. These were called stiff drinks. So when they dug up the body and transported them from Ohio to Baltimore, they pretty much had to fold them in half and put them in whiskey barrels to disguise the smell.
Yeah, that makes sense, but oh god, they had to fold them in half.
Or unjoint them, but it was to disguise the smell. And then they would just sell them to pretty much dumb people after the body was removed from the whiskey barrels.
So the Resurrectionists were the ones selling the leftover whiskey from.
The term was also coined to describe a dead English admiral whose body was preserved in brandy. So it can go even further back, but that's mostly where the term stiff drink came from.
So the establishments that the whiskey was being delivered to, they were selling the whiskey too, weren't they? That had the dead body in it. But the Resurrectionists where was the leftover whiskey coming from that the Resurrectionists had? Were they like wringing it out of the dead people's? No, because the dead people were naked.
The dead people were naked.
How'd they get the leftover whiskey to sell?
If they couldn't sell them to the local saloons, then they would sell them themselves to passerbys, to anyone that was dumb.
Okay. So
or uneducated.
Basically anyone back then who was drinking whiskey was drinking essence of corpse.
Yum. It's going to make you think differently if you ever drink whiskey again.
Nope. I'm still going to drink whiskey.
Yeah,
it's not in there now.
Yeah, but to different saloons and bars, when the Resurrectionists sold it to the bars, it was called a stiff drink. And the saloons knew what it meant.
That's gross, but cool at the same time.
I think it's dark history.
Can you imagine people that collect really old bottles of liquor? If they had, when was this, like the 1800s?
Anywhere between, I want to say 1803 to late 1800s.
So let's say you have an authentic bottle of whiskey from that time. It's probably got essence of corpse in it.
It very well could. Oh, that's going to be expensive. That's a collector.
Yeah, I mean, I would never drink it because first of all, it's way too expensive to drink. And second of all, yuck, but it's still really cool.
Yeah, it is. All right. So at this time, Baltimore was the center of Resurrectionists. This is where they wanted to send their bodies. There were half a dozen medical schools that were needing bodies. Like in 1893, it was legal to dig up bodies, but politicians stated it was a public good deed as the medical industry flourished. So they did all of this so the medical students can study.
Yeah, it was a gray area, really, because it was kind of illegal, but
not really.
Not really. Like, it was for a good purpose.
It was the whole thing between separation of church and state. It was legal for you to take the body, but it was illegal to dissect because once you mutilate the body, then you can't really go into the afterlife.
Yeah.
because your body has to be whole.
And that's why they only wanted criminals, murderers, people like that, because those people were already going to hell anyway.
Correct.
So it didn't matter what they did with their body, and at least something good was going to come out of it.
Resurrectionists made a lot of money.
I'm sure they did.
One body would usually make them 2 to 3 months' salary of their normal trade jobs. So in the mid 1800s, medical schools were popping up everywhere. Doctors were even robbing graves themselves. Like, they did not have enough bodies. Like, there weren't many people that were convicted of murder at that time because it was picture or prove it with
Yeah.
forensics. A lot of students even had to go and dig up their own bodies because you could not pass your medical studies until you had dissected a body.
Ooh,
Some colleges even had their own resurrectionist. Yeah.
that makes sense.
Imagine going to work and like, oh yeah, my job is to dig up bodies. So in Baltimore, out of 1,200 medical students, only 49 cadavers were legally obtained in 1 year. To prevent body snatching, families would hire a gravekeeper for 30 days to watch over their loved ones at night. They would bury their dead beneath cement or put iron bars above the grave. That didn't stop anyone, though.
How'd they get around that?
They had their ways. I really don't know. It's still a mystery. All right, so everyone's gone to cemeteries or seen pictures of iron bars above the body.
Mm-hmm. Like, kind of like an iron cage.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
And in some countries, I remember seeing them in Ireland. Well, that didn't exactly keep people out. So cemeteries also started putting up iron fencing because they realized, well, you can still get to the body, but how the hell are you going to get them out intact?
Yeah, because those iron fences at the top, a lot of them were pointed, like spiked at the top.
Yeah, Woodlawn Cemetery in Toledo still has the iron fences.
Mm-hmm.
So just imagine being a resurrectionist, going through, I got a body out. Oh shit, how am I going to get over this fence intact?
Yeah.
Well, during World War II, a lot of those iron fences and the iron above the grave were removed for wartime materials by Elizabeth II in England. And it also came to the United States at that time too. So if you don't see them, that is why, because we needed the iron for World War II.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There was another concoction to keep resurrectionists out of the graves. How people were buried completely changed. It went from wooden coffins to iron coffins to steel coffins. But it was even introduced of landmines and like shotgun type contraptions to be put inside of the coffin.
How long did that last?
It really didn't.
Because a landmine is just going to blow the body up, too.
It really didn't last. I think in Baltimore and many other cities, in the newspapers, they were making fun of Ohio for this. Because now you're trying to protect the body, but yet you're committing murder.
Yeah, I wonder how they thought to get the shotgun shells to fire from inside the grave.
It was a contraption where they dug out at the head.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're good enough, you can do this in 30 minutes. But they had some kind of contraption where it had to do with a type of wiring. When you dig out from the front of it, it pulls on the wiring and then shoots out.
Wow.
They had all sorts of different ways to try to keep people from digging up the bodies. There's another account where different cemeteries came out with stone hutches where you can store your loved ones for 4 to 5 days to let them decompose and then bury them.
Yeah, because then the resurrectionists won't want them because they're too old.
Resurrectionists were looking for fresh graves. And they usually came anywhere from 12 to 48 hours after they were buried. So they're looking for all these fresh graves. And then you go to dig them out. They ended up being like 10 days old. Colleges would not accept bodies that were more than 10 days buried because they were too decomposed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the 1880s, resurrectionists started going away because embalming was invented. And essentially, a body snatcher lost their jobs because medical schools could keep cadavers for months at a time other than just a few days. And refrigeration was becoming a thing and invented at that time so they can keep the body more fresh.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go into how they did it.
How they did what?
How they dug up the bodies.
Okay.
So usually the resurrectionists would hang out at cemeteries at night or during the day and see who was buried and figure out how they were buried. Then they would go out at night and do what they have to do. Usually the resurrectionists would dig a small hole at the head of the burial, place a rope in a tie around the neck, and then pull the body out. Sometimes it was around the neck, sometimes it was around the torso. Once they started getting the body out, they would remove all the belongings from it, all the clothes, jewelry, anything that was left of the body, because it wasn't illegal to take the body because no one was there to occupy the body. Their soul was gone. It was an empty vessel. No one had property of it because the soul had left the body.
Okay.
But this family still had possession and claim onto any clothing or anything that was tossed into the casket during burial. That was the biggest crime.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you
in a
find a
way.
diamond ring, you're now considered theft. Well, what was interesting is if anyone would suspect someone of digging up a body, the body snatchers would usually wrap them up in clothing, wrap them up in a blanket, and kind of smack their face. Like, oh, this guy's just drunk.
Yeah.
Talk to the person, treat them like they were drunk and taking them home. When they were
it's a good
actually
idea.
when they were actually taking them to a medical college to get their big payday. But they used wooden shovels to do this. You want to take a guess why?
Because it makes less noise than metal. You would think that the ground would have to be softer to use wooden shovels, though.
Yeah, so Ohio was actually at the center of resurrections. While Baltimore and everything on the East Coast had the most amount of colleges, Ohio still had a lot of colleges, but the ground was so much softer most of the year round than it was on the East Coast.
Okay.
So going back to Ohio, it's the most amount of body snatchers.
Oh my God. We're not gonna, in this episode, we're not gonna get into Ohio, but damn, Ohio's got a lot more to it than people realize.
So pregnant women were like number one priority because they had no idea of the anatomy of a woman, and especially the anatomy of a pregnant woman. That made top dollar.
Oh, that was probably really, really rare too,
Probably.
to find the body of a pregnant woman.
At that time, more women died of childbirth than they did of anything else. And especially to find a woman pregnant.
Yeah, that's morbid as hell.
Children were essentially easy for them to find, for them to dig up. It took little effort. They paid pretty good. I don't want to get, that's too morbid. I don't want to get too deep into that.
Yeah, but I mean, they had to.
But there were a lot of kids that died very young because there was no medical knowledge. Deformities made quite a bit of money.
Oh, I can imagine.
Anyone with any type of deformities. So body snatchers knew in the area anyone who was deformed. Like, these were the things that they were looking out for. That made a lot of money. And they're going to dig them up real quick because the fresher the body, the higher the pay. And they were also in competition with other body snatchers.
Did other people besides resurrectionists know this kind of stuff? Because like if I had a family member who was sick and dying and I knew that they were deformed, I'd be like, I need someone watching this grave. We need to bury them 12 feet under because they're going to get robbed. Someone's going to steal them.
So that is why they hired watchmen. It was usually $1 per day. I did not do the math on that. I don't know what it is in today's money. They hired watchmen to do that, to make sure that their family and their loved ones were not dug up. And the watchmen would come out at night to watch it. That's where the term watchman, gravekeeper comes in.
Like the night watchman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
African Americans, I hate to say this, especially in the 1800s, no one cared. They were the most that were dug up.
Because nobody cared.
It was after the Civil War.
Yeah.
And during the Civil War.
But you also told me before that weren't there a lot of African Americans with the job of resurrectionists?
The medical colleges hired mostly African Americans to be the resurrectionists for their college. I feel like there's a connection there. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into that.
Yeah, I don't want to either.
No.
'Cause, yeah, it's not going to sound right.
No, it's not.
Do that. But I'm trying to make the connection. But it was a good job. It was a good paying job.
It was a very good paying job. That's probably why a lot of them took it, especially after the Civil War, when there still wasn't very many jobs.
Uh-huh.
All right. Here's something so fucked up.
Bring it.
In the 1800s, teeth. Dentures. Dentures were considered high class, and they were expensive, and dentures were made out of real teeth.
From dead people.
Dead people. Oh, I should not be laughing at that.
I'm only laughing because you're laughing.
I said this all is going to be a trigger warning, and we have dark humor. Made when resurrectionists wanted to make even a quicker buck, they knocked out the teeth. There's one account of to make even a quicker buck. This guy went into, I don't know his name. It is lost to history. He went into some place where there were multiple bodies, like tons of bodies. Maybe it was during the Civil War.
And stole all the teeth.
He just went through like he was in a bank vault and had a heyday and knocked out as many teeth that he could. He sold them to dentists. Do you want to guess how many pounds of teeth he made off with?
Oh my God.
But think about how light teeth are.
Yeah.
Just take a guess.
Oh God, I can't even imagine. How many pounds?
How many pounds?
I don't know. I feel like you're going to say something outlandish, like 50 pounds.
60.
Holy shit.
Now, I wish I looked that up. I wish I looked up how much teeth were worth.
I never even thought about stuff like that. They still do stuff like that today. They will use parts of like the bones of animals to like give you a new jawbone and stuff like that.
So we are going to go now into the Diary of a Resurrectionist. There is a book out there called The Diary of a Resurrectionist. And I want to tell everyone just a couple of things on the actual journal that was found. This guy held a journal of his nightly occurrences.
She was so excited when she found this book.
But it's perfect for this episode.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so this book is from a resurrectionist, I believe, in London. Monday, March 9th, at home all day and night. March 10th, went to St. Thomas and settled. I'm assuming, I don't know what that is. Went to Thomas, got 5 adults. Went to Lookout, Jack got 2 large, large means adults, and 1 small, which that means a child.
Sounds like they're ordering a McDonald's meal or something.
A little bit.
Ugh.
What else? Monday, March 30th, at home all night. February 3rd, went to look out and distribute the above. Met Jack at night. Been drinking, disappointed at the party.
Disappointed.
So a lot of this journal, like it covers every day for, I want to say anywhere from like 6 to 8 months in 1811. And it's a journal of almost every single night. And most of it is home all day. Jack was drunk, did not go out, went to different places, settled our quarrel by agreeing with Mr. Stanley to bring the subject for lecture, remove the above from St. Thomas at night, went to Harps, got 1 medium adult underneath, then got drunk. So the entire job of a resurrectionist was to go out throughout the day, scope out anyone that was buried, and then if your partner wasn't too drunk, you would go out and bring them back, dig them up.
Why did he keep the diary? Was it like a ledger to keep track of how much money was owed to him, or was it just like a personal thing to keep a diary of what he was doing?
It could be both, because we find out a little bit later when I talk about the most significant body snatching in American history, which is a little close to home for us.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was the most significant, though.
It is. It is called the Harrison Horror, and this is significant to us because we are both Harrisons and are related to the 2 presidents, Benjamin and William Henry Harrison. So William Henry Harrison is the only person in American history to be the father and the son of a sitting president. He was born in 1804 and died in 1878. He was a lawyer, but he pretty much like gave up everything because he wanted to be a farmer. That's where he was happy with. He was the United States House of Representative for Ohio between 1853 and 1857, but he lost his reelection, and hell, I'm happier as a farmer. He is the son of William Henry Harrison, which is the 9th president, and the father of Benjamin Harrison, who is the 13th president. John Scott Harrison died of unknown causes.
Benjamin Harrison was the 23rd president.
Did I get that wrong? 23rd, yeah, I got that, yeah. He is the 23rd president. John Scott Harrison died of unknown causes. It is unknown whether he died the night before or the morning that he was found. They're pretty sure that he was getting dressed, fell down and hit his head, whether it was the night before or the morning of. He was buried 8 feet down inside a metal casket, inside a brick vault. There were 3 large slabs of stone over the casket. It took 16 men to put just one of those in place. A layer of dirt and then a layer of cement was placed over his casket, and the family paid $30 for a watchman to guard his grave for 30 nights. During his funeral, the family noticed that there was a family friend, Augustus Devon. His body was snatched. He died 1 week prior from tuberculosis. So everyone's going out looking for him. Benjamin Hare.
After the funeral,
After the funeral,
they went out looking for this other guy.
family friend Augustus Devon. They got wind that a lot of bodies were going to the Medical College of Cincinnati. They went there. They checked it out. They saw that there was a body hanging essentially from a noose, but around the waist down a chute. They pulled it up, but they saw it as an older man and went about their day like, this isn't the body that we're looking for. Then they came back to it and realized that it was John Scott Harrison.
So someone was watching that funeral happen. And when they left the funeral to go and look for Devon, they immediately dug up John Scott Harrison.
It was within 12 hours.
That is some shit right there.
Like, think about all the shit that you had to go through. Where was the watchman?
Yeah. Where the hell was he?
All right, so in the Medical College of Ohio in Cincinnati, there was a chute that you could drop off bodies overnight. Just kind of slide it down the chute, goes down the chute. You got the medical examiner or the janitor below. And that was it.
Wait, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. How the hell did they get John Scott out of that? I mean, he was buried in concrete and stones and all kinds of bullshit. How did they get to him? And that fast to where they found him while they were still looking for Devon.
It is unknown to this day.
Oh, those resurrectionists were really good at their jobs.
And they were. Well, when they finally pulled the body up of the person that they thought could be Devon, but wasn't, they just still wanted to make sure. It was a naked body and with a cloth type covering over their head. When they pulled off the covering, the son of John Scott Harrison screamed, "That's my father." So in the 12 hours that this happened, whoever received the body also slit the throat of John Scott Harrison to drain all of the blood, because they had to drain the blood for the autopsies.
Oh, wow.
And his beard was shaven. He had a very long beard. Benjamin Harrison even stated that in one of his speeches condemning the janitor in this entire trial, that the grandkids of John Scott Harrison used to stroke this beard while they sat on their lap and he gave them bedtime stories. So they tried to erase the entire identity. The janitor was arrested and was put out on a $5,000 bond, which the Cincinnati Medical College of Ohio ended up paying for, and in today's money, it is $157,000. They later figured out some guy who orchestrated the entire event. His name is Charles Morton. He was a general practitioner doctor. So he just did like general practices, like you'd go to your physician in a normal doctor's office. He was the lead of the Cincinnati Resurrectionists. He orchestrated everything.
Oh my God. Wow.
But putting it a little bit closer to home, prior to the Harrison horror, he was arrested in Toledo, Ohio for orchestrating resurrectionists. But then he got the smallpox, and while he wasn't watched, he fled. He went to Cincinnati, and then he orchestrated the Harrisons.
Wow.
And the trial, everything is lost to history. There was a fire, as there was in many towns. History, it's lost to time. He ended up moving to Indiana and continued on with what he was doing. He ended up being involved. He changed his name and somehow was involved in the Irish or Scottish military. I didn't write that down. I didn't want to get too into it. But John Scott Harrison was later re-entered into a family friend's vault at Spring Grove Cemetery just outside of Cincinnati. Again, more Cincinnati shit.
Yeah.
But after the Harrison horror, law was passed in 5 states. I believe it was Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania, and Kentucky, to increase the penalty of body snatching while making it easier for colleges to use unclaimed bodies for their anatomy. So, I mean, I guess plus sides.
Yeah. Didn't you tell me that they put those things in place after Harrison's grave robbing, like the shotgun shells and the landmines and stuff like that?
No, that was before.
Oh,
But
okay.
that never even took off. Well, when John Scott Harrison, when all that happened, there was an outcry in Cincinnati everywhere about body snatching, and they created that law. But the fucked up part is the Cincinnati Medical College stuck by the fact that they did not knowingly receive John Scott Harrison's body, but then they refused to cooperate. They knew because the janitor was arrested multiple times. He was charged, as well as who slit the throat of John Scott Harrison to release the blood. Resurrectionists did not do that. The college did.
So you think they were lying when they said they didn't know who they had?
I think they were covering their tracks. They
Mhm.
may not have known who they had, and they had a fresh body and wanted to work on it right away. But there's no account of who shaved the beard.
Well, there were probably so many people in there that it could have been anyone who did that.
Just the entire thing with I don't want to get into the entire research on John Scott Harrison. I have it. That can be its own episode.
Mhm.
Well, to finish up with Augustus Devon, they ended up finding him in Ann Arbor, Michigan, in that medical college.
Wow. Well, at least they found him. That was who they were looking for to begin with.
I believe it was in 1998, 1999. The Ohio Historical Society tried to figure out where John Scott Harrison actually is to today. They got a coroner to help them out. They looked in different crypts, and it's still unknown where he is today, but they dug into one of the crypts and put a camera on one side. They found a lot of coffins that were broken open, not broken open, but they had decayed a little bit. Their bones were scattered, but there was a plaque on one side of the coffin they believe is John Scott Harrison. It's unknown where he is actually buried to today.
Oh, wow.
But
I
they
didn't know
have
that.
very good reason of where he could be by the plaque that was placed on the outside of one of the coffins.
Mhm.
But no one has entered it. I mean, it's a national monument.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
However, grave robbing still happens
I'm sure it does.
for very fucked up reasons.
Do you have a story?
No, you do.
Oh, I don't remember that story. There is, I want to say it was in Scotland or Ireland. There was a man who lost his child, lost his wife, and ended up going through and digging up children.
He started out, though. You told me that he started out going to the grave sites of children and reading to them because he was just lonely and, missed his own kids.
And then he brought them home.
And then he brought them home. Didn't he do something to preserve them?
I really don't remember.
Yeah.
He was eventually caught. I believe when he died, officials came in and saw all of this. Like, he dressed them up as dolls.
Oh, and there were a lot of them, huh?
Yeah.
I remember you telling me this story, and I think you actually had like a number of how many there were, and there were way, way, way too many.
It was over a dozen, but it was also like a same situation with Hare and Burke, kind of. Around that time, someone found about 16 dolls buried in a cave in a house somewhere, and they believe that Hare and Burke did that.
Dolls?
That they were creating dolls for the people that they killed. I
What
don't know
the
what that
hell?
signifies.
Just a doll to represent every person that they killed.
I believe that's what it was, but no one knows.
That's a serial killer trophy.
Yeah.
I wonder if they made the dolls with some of the person's hair and stuff like that.
I really don't want to know.
Oh, I didn't know any of that.
So what have we learned today?
I learned all kinds of stuff today.
If it wasn't for these resurrectionists, there would not be modern day medicine. It's dark history, but it served a purpose. And it wasn't illegal to snatch bodies. It was illegal to dissect them, and people made a career out of it. It was a good living. It served a very good purpose, but they were sneaky as shit in the most morbid ways.
It sounds like they were really, really good at what they did. Sitting here listening to him snore. But he's not asleep. His eyes are wide open. Stop it. Be quiet.
Well, I mean, if we have any Scottish listeners or any English listeners, I'm sure Edinburgh isn't too far away from London. Burke's body is still on display in the Medical College of Edinburgh. I believe it's actually now in a museum.
Is it kind of messed up that I want to go and see it?
No.
Except
I mean, it's a skeleton.
Except I don't think that it would hit like I think it would, because I've seen a real skeleton before.
And his is a real skeleton.
Yeah, but it like just doesn't do anything for me. Even knowing that it's real doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't, I don't know.
You can see his skin in a calling card.
That would probably just look like a piece of leather.
It pretty much does.
Yeah.
You can look up the pictures. In the job that I have, I've delivered to quite a few places over the last almost 20 years. I've delivered body bags. I've delivered to funeral homes. I've walked into seeing an autopsy being done. I've walked into seeing the embalming period being done, as well as, what is it, the morticianer, where they put the makeup and do all the things?
Mortician, yeah.
I've walked into all of that.
I don't know what that specific job is called, but yeah.
I remember it was my first couple of weeks delivering, and I was delivering body bags to the county coroner's office, and there's an older lady. I mean, hell, these body bags, I don't even know how many I was delivering, but it probably weighed about 125 pounds. She asked me to deliver them to the back. Can you come in, help me out? I'm like, oh, yeah, no problem. I walk in, and the ribs are open, everything. It's...
Oh, okay. No, I don't want to see that.
I got back out to the truck, and I could not get that out of my head for a while. And like a 16th of a mile away, I delivered to the same place where they transport the bodies for study with the medical college. And I'm delivering to the shipping and receiving area, and they're telling me about, like, yeah, like there's a tunnel that we take all these deceased through, and sometimes they sit up.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly seeing all of these people coming in, and I've heard it make noise.
Yeah, that I do know that kind of stuff happens. Yeah, they move a little bit, they make noise.
If anyone has ever watched, what is it, My Girl? Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah.
I mean, if people are from Ohio or pretty much anywhere, there's a lot of places where people live in the same building as what the mortuary and funeral home is. It's a very common thing in Ohio. And I think that I'm delivering to one place, and I'm not. And I'm delivering the embalming fluid, but I'm also delivering in areas that I really don't know. I'm supposed to go in this door. Oh shit, I went in the wrong door.
Oh no.
And I've seen the embalming process happen.
There you go. That's why you're fucked up.
It helps why I'm fucked up, but you also need to give credit to what they do.
Oh yeah, I couldn't do that. And they have to take care of them and respect them while they're doing what they need to do with them.
I think I could do it.
I don't think I could.
Honestly, I believe that the movie Now and Then has helped me form who I am. If anyone has watched the movie Now and Then, not many people have heard of it, but for those who have, when you know, you love it. It's a movie that I do believe that has created my musical interest by the 70s music. And it's respect for the dead.
Yeah.
And I think with the respect that I have for the dead, as morbid as it is, I think that I could do that. I don't want to trigger warnings and whatnot and get too much into detail, but I'm interested. I mean, hell, it beats delivering dog food all day, probably.
Yeah, but you're feeding dogs.
I'm feeding the dogs of the people who don't want to leave their home.
Well, the dogs are getting fed because of you.
Well, on that note, I think that is probably all that I know for tonight.
Yeah, we're ending this on a morbid but positive note at the same time. This whole episode was morbid but positive, if you think about it.
If it wasn't for body snatching or resurrectionist or the doctors of the night, medical science would not be where it is today.
Yep. So we needed them to do that stuff.
All right, well, everyone have a good night, and please listen to our other episodes.
Thank you for listening. We hope you keep listening. Have a good night.